Hey everybody, Billy from Gem City Welding back at it on the 64. This is going to be episode 4 of the building a lowrider. I've got my buddy and his son. This is Ryan and Garrett. They're going to help me pull the chassis out today. Ryan's got an awesome 64 Super Sport, and someday we'll have it on the channel. But we're going to roll this guy out today and get it in the driveway and show you what that's like. Everything's completely disconnected, and then we'll roll it back into the garage and get a better look at the video, and we'll set you up on a time lapse now, so hang tight. All right, so got the chassis out. Not too bad, having a couple extra hands. Those guys are, I'm grateful for their help. But so overall, again, like I said in the previous video, I'm not seeing any major rust or rot. I mean, yeah, it's got some pitting from, you know, just being as old as it is, but I'm not seeing any holes or any frame damage really. Had to take the front bumper off to clear the cinder blocks from under the car, or sorry, the rear bumper. But so that's where I'm at now. Next video will probably be stripping this thing down, getting the rear end off, get the front A-arm and suspension off. That way I can do the extension on the A-arms, get this frame off to blast, and then probably gonna build a rotisserie for the frame. That way I'm not welding on the ground all the time. I'll have it about waist high and I can spin it and do everything I need to do. Found out it is not a posi rear, but that's okay. And then also, the other thing is looking at how the factory ran the brake lines and fuel lines, because the best I can tell, this has never been changed. I mean, because, you know, GM installed them through the frame for the fuel, and then your brake was on the outside. So this helps document everything for me for when I go to put this back together. And then this is where I just was wire wheeling it one day just to see the condition of the frame, but it looks pretty good. So I'll set you back up on time lapse. We'll get this thing back in the garage and get her set up. Okay, so front bumper's off, just 4 bolts. Actually, these were pretty easy to get off, so not surprised really. Haven't had much trouble so far, but everything's in really nice shape. No crash damage. Everything's nice and straight. Something I wanted to touch on that I really didn't get a chance to earlier with these cars. If you yourself are going, hey, you know, I want an Impala, or I want to do a project like this, and have never, you know, owned one or looked much into these cars, there's something you have to be aware of when it comes to rust. Just like any car of the era, and, you know, true to some modern cars, there's a lot of holes in the frames. Factory holes, different things that, sorry about the cord there, some things that the factory did, holes like that. Over time, these things will become impacted with mud. These are bad for that. And you know, of course, mud gets in there, it's wet, it dries. Do that several hundred times over, you know, 40, 50 years, and then rust becomes an issue. With these cars, this area here, sorry, is known for that. There's actually a weep hole. Let's see, where is that? I'll show you better on this other side. Yeah, so this is like a drainage hole here. Those become caked with mud, and before you know it, these completely rust out. And the rear frame rails are open, so those are easy to get mud in and rust out over time. This gets covered, the backside of the banana bar, or yeah, banana bar mount, because everything's, you know, in that part of the body underneath the car is really tight, so it doesn't take much to get stuff up there. But so far, from what I'm seeing, everything here is actually in pretty good shape. And like I said earlier, this car was off the road longer than it was on the road. So I guess I kind of lucked out. But so the front bumper's off. Now I got enough room to where this thing can stay in the garage and I can roll it out from time to time here coming up soon, and make the rotisserie for it, get the rear axle unbolted, and start the process of getting this thing ready for reinforcements. So I'll be taking it to the blaster pretty soon. Next video will probably be stripping down the suspension, trying to see what all I need to replace, which is obviously every single bushing up there. These lower control arms are going to be replaced. I'm looking at buying some from, I'm not sure which company I'm going to use yet, Black Magic, or I might have Jason Pinky Garrett make me some. He does a phenomenal job at those. And then I'm going to put a Y-bone on this car. Not doing a wishbone, not looking at doing a super crazy high lockup, just 12s. Set a decent 3-wheel, nice lockup in the rear. Gonna notch the drive shaft tunnel, reinforce all the inner tunnel. Let's see, shock mounts, those will go. I'm never putting shocks on this car. And then just some miscellaneous bracketry like for the panhard bar there, that'll be gone because the Y-bone actually eliminates the need for this bar here. Not this brace, sorry, but this actual bar eliminates the need for that. Keeps the rear end centered when you lock up and lay the car. So that'd be pretty much for the rear. Oh, and I need to start looking at getting bearings for this rear end, and I would love to have an aftermarket rear end, fabricated one, or some nice piece, but right now this is the rear end I got, so this is the rear end I'm going to use. Probably take it apart, replace the seals, put the bearings in it, and then a trick for these rear ends is once the bearings are set, you can put a small tack weld on the bearings to keep them in the housing so the rear wheel doesn't slide out, and that'll get me by so I can save up enough money to buy me a nice rear end, or an aftermarket piece like a Ford 9-inch or something like that. The Lincoln Versailles rear ends that everybody likes to use are just stupid, ridiculously high priced. Even around here, derby guys love them, so derby car guys buy them up like crazy. Get the A-arms off, get those blasted. I want to do a 1-inch extension on the front. Let's see, reinforce uppers and lowers, and then buy the disc brake kit. Get all those parts on order. Probably leave the rear drum for now because I don't want to invest in a super high expensive disc brake kit for a rear end that I'm probably not going to use for 5 years, if that. I'm thinking we'll see, we'll cross that path later. And then some fuel lines, brake lines, do away with this e-brake stuff. I know some people are going to say, what, you're doing away with the e-brake, you're crazy. Well, I don't know, just I don't see any need for it for what I'm doing. And there's probably a guy out there that needs these parts, I'm thinking, so we'll see. I don't know. But that's where I'm at, and that's probably going to cover it for this video. So again, I appreciate you liking and subscribing and commenting on the video. That's super awesome, and I appreciate everybody, giving their feedback and really being supportive of the channel and what I'm doing. And again, if you have any questions about what I'm doing here or anything like that, please feel free to reach out to me, and I look forward to uploading the next video. So take care. We'll see you later.